Hey guys, tonight we're going to talk about why you might be obsessing over the narcissist. Okay, so a couple different reasons would be one, you're very angry and you just can't get over the things that they did, and so you're just kind of going over and over again thinking about how terrible it was, how terrible they are, and you just can't let it go. Okay, anger. Or you are crying yourself to sleep. You can't get out of bed, and you're just over and over and over thinking about what happened, what they did, what they're doing. Um, yeah, it's just sadness, anger. Um, could get, I think it's part of anger, but the disgust. So you get like, oh, like so grossed out. Like, how can they be so awful? I think that's an extension of anger. So if you don't let go of the anger, if you don't get rid of that sadness, um, you're just going to get stuck there. I don't think you want to get stuck there, because when I was there, it didn't feel very good. I mean, it felt good in the moment to be like talking to my sister and be like, blah, 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 blah. But then afterwards, it's like, it was still there. The anger was still there. Nothing really changed. And it wasn't until I forgave my parents. I had to forgive them for everything that happened. I won't go into details because it doesn't really matter, like all the stuff they did, but if you don't forgive, you're just going to be chewing on that rotten piece of steak, like chewing on a bone, and it's rotten. And the longer you chew on it, the grosser it's going to get, and you're going to get sick. And there's really no reason to do that, because there's so much more out there. So you could be obsessing because of the lack of forgiveness, which is going to manifest itself with the crying, with the raging, with the talking bad to anybody who will listen about how awful these people are. You could also be its extension of the sadness is the depression, the suicidal thoughts, the feelings of worthlessness, things of obsessively thinking like, had I done this, had I not done that, maybe things would be different. And if that's the case, I really encourage you to take a step back and look at what you're dealing with and understand that it was not personal. There was no right thing that you could have done, and whatever you did supposedly wrong probably wasn't even why they were upset. So you have to understand that there were no rules. You didn't break the rules. The rules are constantly changing. The goalpost is constantly moving. So you can't please somebody like that. So don't even think about like what you could have done, could have, would have, should have. Like it's over. And you're actually, if the narcissist is leaving you alone and they've moved on to somebody else, it might not feel like a blessing, but oh my goodness, that's a blessing, because they're not relentlessly attacking you, relentlessly undercutting you, relentlessly trying to get you fired, trying to get your spouse fired, hurling false accusations, getting the police involved. I mean, I think out of all the problems that you could have, their neglect or their lack of interest in you, although it's designed to wound you deeply, it's a good thing. It's a good thing that they move on. I mean, I feel bad for the person they're moving on to, but like we're just talking about you right now. Because if you think that they broke up with you and then you're still, you could have done something different, and now they're moved on, and they've moved on, and there was something, they're happy. They're not happy. They can never be happy. They can never be happy. So when you understand that, okay, think of how sad that is. That this person is going from envy, control, arrogance, pride. And it's not even like a real pride. It's like they hate themselves. They're ashamed of themselves. So they have to control you, put you down, because they can't have what you have. They can't be generous. They can't be thoughtful. People aren't going to like them, not long term, not long term. And so what I did to stop obsessing over my mom, I made a video about like the different stages and stuff, but the first thing I did was stop obsessing, kind of sort of like if you were addicted to nicotine, chew gum, do something different. So focus your attention on something else that's positive. And that initial boost, although it's not super significant, like you start going to the gym, you start volunteering, you start gardening, you start swimming on a regular basis, you start spending time, like Wednesdays is your day to meet with your friends from work. Wednesday, or Thursday is a play date, like something to get you Thursday to Thursday. I was in the Marines, and so like when we were going through boot camp, it was like you just had to get through the day. It was like chow to chow and Sunday to Sunday, and you just get through it. So you get to breakfast, you just have to get to breakfast. As horrible as it is in the morning, you just got to get to breakfast. And then everything in between, you just got to get to lunch. You just got to get to dinner. You just got to get to, the next morning. And chow to chow and Sunday to Sunday, pick something to occupy your mind, something to calm you and relax you, because right now you're in such a high state of emotional swings, rage to crying, and then back to rage, and then disgust, and then running your mouth to people who it's none of their business to hear about this stuff, and then guilt for sharing too much information. So it is a whirlwind of emotions. So you need to calm down. You need to relax. Pick something nice and easy to do to get your mind off something else. And even if you're shifting that obsession, I'm going to lightly call it obsession, focus. You're shifting your focus onto something else. And once you're in that state and you relax a little bit, then you can focus on multiple things. Then you can relax a little bit. So that'll help you get out of that obsessive state. But I'm going to tell you right now, if you don't forgive them, you're never going to get out of this. You're always going to be stuck. You're always going to be thinking about what they did and what they said and how they said it and how that you didn't deserve it. And honestly, like none of that does any good for you. I mean, they were wrong. You were right. You didn't deserve it. But what good does that do you right now? Like you still feel like garbage. So what's going to make you feel better is getting out in nature, going swimming, going for walks, setting up play dates for your kids, meeting your friends after work, and just, it doesn't have to be for hours and hours, just a little bit, something to get you out of this routine, this sad, depressing, hopeless, angry, rage-filled, crying-filled, exhausting routine that you're in. So that would be my suggestion to you. And how do you forgive them? I make it sound so easy. Oh yeah, just forgive them. Okay, when you realize how sad their life is, when you realize how empty it is, when you realize that they don't feel good unless they are making people feel bad, and they don't feel good and they're just envious of your good qualities, and so they have to smother your good qualities. And somehow in their warped mind, they think that if they smother your good qualities, then somehow they will be whatever it is that they envy in you. How sad is that? How sad is it to be lying all the time and in fear that you're going to be exposed? So it's not a good life that they have. And whether you believe in God, I believe in God, I don't know, I'm rooting for you, no matter what your faith is or your spirituality, or if you think right now that you don't have one, I'm rooting for everybody. But if you classify it as what goes around comes around, or karma, or my belief, which is everything that we do, everything that we say, everything that we think, and the way we affect people And the chances we had to help somebody and we didn't, or the times that we helped someone when we really didn't need to, all of that is accounted for. And so with that mindset, the narcissist and all the damage that they do to people, all the relationships that they destroy, all of the people that are supposed to flourish the way God made them, design them to do, whatever job they were designed to fill. And they're getting smothered. And that narcissist is helping with the smothering process. You know, my grandpa is a minister, and he used to say, like, I wouldn't want to be the tip of a pinky fingernail of the person who makes another person stumble in their walk with God. So they have a huge responsibility, and they're not even happy. They're not happy in this life, and they're not going to be happy with the results and the consequences of their actions in the next life. So when you frame it like that, it's easier to let it go, because God will take care of whatever it is that they're doing and they shouldn't be doing. That's Him. Like, we're not, to judge people. And it might take a couple of years to get there. Like, I wasn't like all zen like that before. It took me a couple of years. But the more I think of the weight on their shoulders, the consequences of their cruelty, the consequences of their premeditated cruelty. I don't even know what to say. So I'm going to let them sort themselves out with God, and I'm going to focus on not following the path that the narcissist was pushing me into, not shoving me into this box, not manipulating and lying and harassing and getting me to live the life they wanted me to live instead of the life God designed me to live. So think about that. I hope it helps. I hope it helps you kind of, right now you're sort of in a broken record. You know, maybe you're not old enough to know like the records, but I remember, the record spinning and it would get stuck, and you get stuck, and you can't get stuck until you physically like push it out of that rut. So I hope you get out of your rut. I hope you want to get out of this rut. And my recommendation always is to ask God to help you. Ask Him to help you forgive. Ask Him to help you let go. It's not right. There's no excuse. I'm not excusing their behavior. I'm not saying forgive and then go hang out with them. Like, I don't go to Thanksgiving with my parents. It's okay. I don't invite them to my daughter's birthday parties. That's okay. I'm not angry. I'm not wishing harm on them. I'm not gloating when they have bad things, and I'm not angry when they have good things. They're just not part of my life anymore. So that's when you know that you're not obsessing anymore. That's when you know, like when you can go to sleep at night and not think of them. And when it's quiet, you don't think of them. Then you know that you moved on. So I'm here to help if you have any questions, if you have any stories. You can do it. You can get out of this. You can get out of this. And I'm always here to help if you have any questions or any really any thoughts on what we just discussed. I do read all your comments. I do appreciate you taking the time to listen to this. And if you know of somebody who could use this message, please feel free to pass it on. But most importantly, I just don't want to hold anything in. Like, it took me a long time to let go, and I wish I would have let go sooner. But you can only do what you You know, at the time, I didn't even know anything about narcissism. I didn't know anything about how it affected the spiritual aspect, like how it affects my spiritual life. And I think that's what really kicked it into gear for me, that it's not just hurt feelings, it's not just wrongs or money or false accusations and hurt feelings. It's a spiritual war. And that shine that you were designed to share with people, it's being stolen from you. And that's your birthright, like that's yours. So if I were you, I would not give it up. I hope you have a good night, and I will talk to you guys again soon.